Greetings. Hello. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
been a
Homewrecker podcast. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous wife, Monique.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I was listening to our intro music, and it's like, man, we haven't done this in so long. I missed it.
Has it been that long?
It's been 9 months.
No.
Yeah, 9
Has
months.
it really?
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
So it's been, like I said, it's been a minute.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, we figured we'd come back on and do this again because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it was that long. That's
we
crazy.
missed you.
Missed who?
The listeners.
I missed the microphone. Darn it. I don't know any listeners. Just kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Good grief.
Can you please explain to me what part of that was the joke? What was supposed to be funny?
Why you gotta be like that? Why you gotta be like that? So what have we been up to? What the heck have we been doing? Nothing interesting or exciting. So I don't even know why I asked the question.
Taking care of family.
Yeah, I don't even know why I asked that question.
Getting shit done. That's what we've been doing.
Already with the swearing.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
Lord. So we're just gonna throw any kind of decorum and decency out the window.
This is our podcast.
Right away.
Okay.
Just gonna start with the swearing.
I'm a person who swears. It's part of who I am.
You got a trucker mouth woman.
I do. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of it.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
You love me no matter what.
That's true. That is true. I did marry you, for crying out loud.
That's right.
Or you married me. I don't know. However you want to put that. All
A little bit of both.
Well, the last time we did a show, we were doing a segment that we called Ask Monique.
Yes,
do you recall?
I do.
Okay. Well, for those of you that maybe don't recall, what I do is there's a you're already laughing. There is a woman who was voted or deemed the most intelligent woman alive. Marilyn Vossant was her name. I think she had like a 190 IQ, something like that. Well, she's written several books, and she also had a syndicated column in newspapers across the country where it was kind of like a Dear Abby type of deal. People would write in and ask her questions, and she would answer them. And, of course, being the quote-unquote most intelligent woman in the world, people put some stock into what her responses would be. So what we're doing, I should say, is I'm asking a question of Monique that was asked to the smartest woman in the world, and I'm going to see how she responds and how her response compares to the most intelligent woman in the world. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay. Dear Monique, what is the greatest punishment for anybody?
I would say ignoring them.
Care to elaborate, or is that your response? It's fine if that's your response. It doesn't have to be
I guess,
wordy.
if they hurt you, I think one thing people hate is true loneliness and feeling alone. So, I mean, I think, just ignore them. Like, they say, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. But it's just, you no longer exist. Like, that's how I am with people. You hurt me, you're dead to me. You no longer exist to me. Or you could torture them horribly for long periods of time, but I'm going with ignore them.
All right. Well, what the woman with the 190 IQ said is, other than the penal system and excluding inhumane punishments, ostracism ranks among the most profound. One of the harshest of penalties is to be shunned by good people.
Ooh.
Look at you. Look at you.
I feel like I've been right on track
You're
with
so
these.
smart.
I'm wicked smart.
You're so
I'm
smart. Have you ever
smart.
taken one of those IQ tests?
I've never taken an IQ test. And I feel like when I'm questioned under pressure, like you could be like, Monique, okay, for $1 million, answer this question. What is 2 + 2? And I'd be like, oh my God, I know this. Why can't I think of the answer? Like when the pressure is on.
So you fold under pressure.
It's not that I fold under pressure. It's just when I'm trying to think of something I know and I feel like eyes are on me and I'm being timed.
So you fold under pressure.
I wouldn't say that. It's just sometimes I go blank. I've literally forgotten family members' names. I've gone to, we were at our wedding reception. And I'm introducing him to a cousin of mine. And I just
Who's
told
him?
I'm sorry, I'm introducing Alex to
Oh,
a cousin of mine.
pronouns, pal.
Sorry. I'm introducing Alex to a cousin of mine, and I'm like, hey, this is my cousin. And I'm just blanking on the name. I know my cousin. I know my cousin's name, and I'm just like, oh my God, my mind is a blank.
So you fold under pressure.
No, because what's weird is like when I do hypnotherapy and something comes up that's like nothing I've trained for, and you just have to roll with stuff because anything can come up. I am right on it. Like I can just boom, roll with the punches, come up with something that'll work for the client I'm working with. And it's like, that's pressure. And I don't fold, I rise. But other things, I don't know, maybe because I feel like if it's not something that's my element, whereas compared to something that I know and I just feel a connection with, I don't know.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I fold under pressure. It's just funny and it doesn't happen all the time, but just randomly. But no, I've never done an IQ test. And I wonder like if I felt like, oh, if I like tripped up my mind or if I went in just being like, whatever, I'm just going to do it.
So you've never tried those?
No.
I've tried a couple, and the ones that I've never completed one because every one that I've ever looked at or tried, and this was many, many years ago. I haven't done this in probably over a decade, but they get to like a point, or I don't know if they do anymore, but the ones that I did, there was like a section where they would want you to do like pattern recognition and like using shapes and geometry, just different things like that. And I hated that stuff. I've always hated that stuff. I don't like it at all. And I would just get to that point and be like, I'm done. I don't care. And I'd quit. I've never
did you
finished
go
the darn
somewhere or
thing.
did you do it
No,
online?
it was those online deals. I think, what's the one, the group of all the geniuses, what's it
Mensa?
called? Mensa. I think I don't know if they still do. I want to say it was something that they had on their website or something. I can't remember what it was, but so obviously I'm not a genius because I don't even remember it. But
okay, I feel like we need to go and try and do an IQ test.
maybe next time on our next show, we'll give you the results of our IQ test. We'll try to find one and take one.
But it's
and
funny.
See if I can actually sit through and complete it this time.
We got a gift for our kids, and it's a game called Uzzle, Uzzle,
Oh, gosh.
and it's like these different patterns on these blocks, and you can get all these different things, like all these different types of patterns, and you get a card, and you have to match the pattern on the card with the blocks that you have, and whoever does it first is the winner, and you just play it over and over. And yeah, we played the game, and I'm done in like seconds.
Yeah,
But-
it takes me forever. I just my brain doesn't. I don't know. I don't
But-
like that stuff.
That's a strength for me, but you have strengths elsewhere. So let's say we take the IQ test. I might struggle in something you excel in.
Well, yeah,
that's
I mean,
normal.
that's people. We're all
Yeah.
different. So sorry,
Doesn't
that was me
make you-
adjusting my mic. I apologize.
It doesn't make you any less, you know?
I didn't say it did. I don't think it does. I'm just saying I had no patience once I got to the certain point, and I took from different. It wasn't just the Mensa thing, but it was like other ones that I took. You know, it was back when they were putting that kind of stuff online
Yeah.
all the time. I'm sure it's still there, but I haven't looked in a long time. But yeah, I'd get to those parts, and sometimes they'd be timed, and it's like, oh, this is time, forget it, and I would just give it up. Like I wouldn't even try.
Well, the ones online, I felt like, how do I really know this is an actual
Well, that's the
IQ
thing. I mean, how do you
test?
know any of this stuff's accurate anyway?
Or versus, just what people are putting out there to make you feel good about yourself because
Yeah, right.
it's not legit.
Yeah, exactly. So I was looking the other day, and I saw this story, and I'm not going to link it in the show notes because I did not actually save it. But there was a story that I saw, and I thought this was a pretty interesting thing. There was a guy who was a married man, and I don't even know how or why. And again, this could be a made up thing. I don't know. It could have been clickbait, but it's an interesting conversation piece. I think this guy was a husband. For some reason, got a DNA test because he didn't believe that his child, his son, was his. So they took a DNA test, and sure enough, yeah, the DNA was not his. And they took several of them, and the wife is insisting, "I never cheated on you. I've only been with you, whatever." And took multiple tests or whatever, and then finally they found that the DNA showed that he was an uncle of his son, And he's like, what? That doesn't make any sense because he didn't have any brothers or sisters. He was an only child. Well, come to find out, I guess what they found was that when the husband, was in the womb, when he was being in the process of being born, he was a twin, and he absorbed his twin's DNA. Like, you've heard of that before, that happening, right? And so apparently somehow the DNA, the sperm that went into that created his son, was actually his twins. He had so he had two sets of DNA essentially. And the DNA that went into his son was his unborn twin's DNA. So he basically fathered his unborn twin's child. And I was like, that's crazy. So like, what do you do in that? Like, how do you reconcile that mentally? Like, I'm the one that had sex. I'm the one that, but it's not my DNA. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think the bigger question is, why did he think the child wasn't his?
That's the thing that was not answered. It was not that question was not broached in this article that I read. It was just basically the story of the multiple DNA tests, and then finally figuring out that it wasn't his son. It was his unborn. It was just weird. Just a weird.
Have this kind of
deal.
Subconscious feeling that there was something more going on, and that was his way of finding it? Or was he suspecting his wife was cheating on him?
That was never spoken about. It was never talked about.
See, this is what I want to know.
I know. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think these are questions that you'd want to have answered, but I guess
ultimately,
it didn't fit
if he absorbed his twin, it's his kid. The twin is part of him.
Right. And obviously it's his, I don't know. It's so weird. It's just a weird thing, a weird story. And again, I don't even know if it's true. I don't know if it was a clickbait thing or something, but I read the whole thing and I thought, wow, that's very interesting. Very, very, what an interesting thing. But again, there's so much stuff out there now that's not real AI slop, as they call it. So who knows? But I just thought, if that was a real thing, like a hypothetical, what would you do in that case?
I think if you said to me, like, I don't think our kids are mine, like that would devastate me.
That's the thing. Like, how does this marriage survive this distrust?
I know. And then if you went and then tested it, came up it wasn't yours, and I know you were the only person.
Yeah. It's like, what do you do?
What, 16, 17 years we've been together?
Yeah. And that's the strange thing about it too. I guess they went through multiple different DNA tests.
Well,
through multiple different companies and multiple doctors they visited, and finally it was one doctor who figured out, you've got two sets of DNA in you.
Well, my first thought was, the DNA, you hear about the ancestry and all that, it's not really accurate.
Right.
The DNA tests are flawed. But then I thought, did they test her DNA? Was it her child? Because what if the baby got switched at birth somehow and it was neither of theirs? Like, that's what I started thinking.
The DNA showed that he was the child's uncle.
No.
Not the father. Because of the DNA split, the two sets of DNA. Yeah. It was just so weird, so bizarre.
It is.
But how does the relationship survive that distrust? Because for some reason he's saying, this isn't my kid. What made him think that, right?
But that's the thing. And then I question, was he thinking that because he felt like something inside that kind of almost like the universe, the subconscious nudging him to get answers about himself unknowingly?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Because that's the thing. Like, he was not aware that he was a twin. And I didn't go into specific. Who knows if his parents are still around or whatever, and if they knew. But it's just kind of weird.
And I just think, like, when you were talking about that, I just think of The Office and Dwight when he talks about how he had a twin and he absorbed the twin.
Yeah. Well, this essentially is the idea behind that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting. But yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm like, okay, that's a crazy situation, a crazy scenario, and obviously one that's super rare. If it even happened, again, I don't know. I didn't verify anything. Just read this article, so who knows? But what would you do? Like I was thinking about, I'm like, what the heck would I do in that situation? Like, how do you? I mean, it's yours. It's your child. You've been
Yeah.
raising it, and obviously you love it. But knowing that on a biological level, the DNA, it's not yours. It's just kind of weird. You know what I mean?
I
don't know.
guess like that doesn't matter to me because it's still your child.
No, it still would be exactly.
Whether
it's still your
like
child,
you have a
but-
stepchild or you adopt a child, you still love that regardless of if it's biological.
No, I get that.
I get like what you're saying, but bigger picture, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. But it's just again, it's just the whole the mind, the mental gymnastics that you have to do to, I don't know, to reconcile that.
Yeah.
Whatever this guy was feeling, because he obviously was feeling something that made him want to go out and have a DNA test done. And just again, like, how does the wife, how does the relationship survive? But then again, he's proven right in the end. So he had a right. I guess he was right to have this suspicious feeling, but
at the same time,
it's like almost.
I would start to think like, are you thinking that because you're cheating on me and you're trying to project your guilt onto me and make me the bad guy?
You could absolutely argue that point too.
Yeah.
So who knows? And again, those are not questions that were answered or even broached in this article. So
you had mentioned AI slop,
yes.
and I forgot to mention
so
earlier.
Much of it. Jeez.
I forgot to mention it earlier. Our friend Jennifer Holtz, she hosts the Curious Cat podcast. She has been working with her friend Jessie on Is AI the Devil? It's like a special podcast series that they're doing together. And you can find it on the Curious Cat podcast. And Jen and Jessie had to sit down with them yesterday and record with them. And I did a tarot reading for 2026 and for the future of AI. And it was very interesting. So please check out the Curious Cat podcast. Jen and Jessie's Is AI the Devil? They have some other different kind of in-between episodes. But yeah, we went off on AI and talking about that and other stuff in general. It was so fun. It was such a fun conversation.
Yeah, it was a fun conversation.
Yeah, so please go check that out.
But AI is the devil, damn it. It's there's something there.
I've never trusted it.
There's something to that
it's trickster.
That thought, in my view.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty crazy.
And I'm not sure when that episode will come out. I don't know if it'll be next week, the week after. I'm not sure of the lineup, but just keep an eye out for it for when it comes out and check out all the other episodes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, I was also looking, and we did a show about this. I guess if we haven't been around in 9 months, it hasn't been recently, but the Adam and Eve story,
yeah,
the cataclysms, and I've been looking a lot into that stuff lately because I don't know where anybody's that's listening, where you guys live. We get downloads and stuff from all over the place, which is awesome. So hello to everybody and thank you. But the weather has been crazy, and I mean I've been talking about this with you since 2012, at least 2012.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like
it's been a long time where I've just noticed that the weather has just been like very uncharacteristically bizarre, I guess, for lack of a better word. And just the wind where we live has just been crazy lately. And it's just always like it wakes me up. It's so loud and it blows so hard. And it's just so it's just weird.
But when we were kids, right, growing up,
yeah,
I feel like we didn't have the amount of wind all the time.
That's the thing. It's all the time.
Do you remember days there was no wind? Like, okay, I'm talking about like we grew up in New England, right? Massachusetts and New Hampshire. But there was it wasn't like it is every day. Every single day there's wind.
And it's not like little gusts of wind. It's like 30, 40 mile per hour winds all the time. It's
every day we have a
sway the
that.
trees,
yeah.
Like the big oak trees swaying in the wind because it's blowing so hard. It's every day, and it seems like it happens all night long. It's just blowing like crazy. So I've really always been looking into different things again about the cataclysms and geophysical events and things like that, and I found we're in an actual what's it called, a grand solar minimum right now. Like we're currently in that phase of whatever you want to call it, weather
But isn't that like where there's less solar flares?
That's, I guess, what they say. But I guess also when solar flares occur, or when they're going to start to occur more, they're going to be more, a lot more strong. And I guess more radiation will be coming from the sun. Again, this is all stuff that the quote unquote scientists say. And who knows, who knows really what's going to happen, or if we're going to be experiencing something like that in our lifetime or not. But it's just whatever's going on out there. And plus all the spraying that they do, which is not let up at all. It's been crazy here in New England. Yeah. I'm sure it's been, I've seen videos and things that people have put out.
And we've done an episode on chemtrails. So it's like chemtrails everywhere. Yeah. That's what that episode is titled. Go check it out if you have not heard it.
Yeah. I mean, the spraying is out of control. So I don't know how much of that contributes to the crazy weather we're experiencing. And it's like we very rarely get clear days anymore. Yeah. Like even when the sun's out, it's like being blocked.
It's rare just to have like a blue sky.
It's very rare.
But we've talked about it before, the new clouds. It's like, no, those are from chemtrails. Yeah, but
gosh, yeah.
Well, one of the things I've been saying with you for a while is I thought the poles were shifting, but not like some people thought long ago the poles are going to shift and it's just going to be like rapid and instant and everything's going to be screwed. But I was like, no, I think they're shifting, and I think they're shifting really slowly. And when I looked up that, what was it, the solar minimum thing?
The grand
solar minimum. Mm-hmm. I'm looking this up on websites, and they're talking about how we are in a polar shift, a slow, gradual shift of the poles.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're admitting it now?
Yeah.
And yeah, they're admitting it now. Like, I don't go online and search because it's just whatever.
Well, you said it's gradual and slow. Yeah, it's gradual and slow, but eventually, like anything, you get to a certain point and then it becomes rapid. Because if you think about it, like if you, for example, using like a glass of water, you have a glass of water, you're slowly tipping it, right? Mm-hmm. Slowly starting to tilt it until eventually the water's going to start pouring out. When that happens, it's like, okay, what are you going to do? When you get to a certain level, the water's going to start shifting and flooding, and things are going to happen, and everything that's above water now may not be for very long.
Maybe.
I mean, we've all heard the great flood stories, Noah's Ark.
But people survive.
Yeah, people do survive, and humanity figures out a way and carries on. I mean, we know there's deep underground military bases. Mm-hmm. There's all that kind of stuff that. So the government has bases underground. Now, is it because of knowledge of a coming geophysical event? Is it like a just in case type of thing? Like, we don't know because we're not privy to that information.
I feel like the stuff I've read about it, they make it sound like it's there. It is there, but it's to transport and like in emergencies, like if for the highly politically powered people to get them to safety should something happen.
Who knows? But I mean, there's evidence of this type of thing happening in the past. I mean, mm-hmm. there's a valley in the Sahara Desert called Wadi al-Hatan, and they have tons of whale bones and marine life. It's not, and they're old, they're fossiled, but they're not deep in the ground. They're just, you can walk in the valley and you see the bones. Like they're just there. Why are they there in the middle of the desert? Well, obviously there was whales there at one point. There was marine life there at one point. And also, there was somebody that came out recently. They were doing a lot of research in the pyramids in Egypt, and they've found salt on the walls of the pyramids inside. Basically, they're theorizing that the pyramids at one time were flooded. They were underwater. So if that's true, if that theory is true, think about that for a second. The pyramids, I don't even know what they have them dated at right now, but add a couple thousand years to that, because if they were underwater at one point, that means that they were above water before that. Mm-hmm. And then they went, you know what I mean? So like, how long have these pyramids been around for? So how long has humanity been around? Obviously humanity of somebody built those things. Somebody built them. So how long have they been there? How long have we been around for? And I was thinking about this too. If, for example, you hear about people building underground bases, people building underground bunkers and shelters and things like that. It was big in the news pre-2020. You were seeing news stories everywhere. Billionaires building bunkers everywhere, underground bunkers, getting ready for the coming social unrest and things like that. And it's like, you read about these UFOs and stuff, and I'm going to try to tie this all together, because think about it. What if UFOs are us, which is a theory that's been put out there, that they're us from the future. But I say, what if they're not from the future? What if they're just humans now? Like, they're just present, like they're humans, but they've been around for millennia, right? They have technology that, because if you think about like us right now in our current trajectory with AI, with just technology, weapons, all that stuff, like the trajectory, eventually you're getting better, you're getting more advanced, right? What if this is a civilization that has been around? Are they the ancient Lemurians or the ancient Atlanteans? What if those were real civilizations that they never actually went away? They've been around this entire time, and they're the ones in the UFOs coming up out of the ocean, because they figured out how to survive and how to build a civilization that is essentially weatherproof or cataclysmic proof. What if? Wouldn't that make sense? Because
it just makes you think of Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Right. But wouldn't that make sense though? If it's us, like there's no like gray aliens or whatever, whatever they say these aliens look like. It's just humans.
But then that brings us to the
advanced.
inner Earth, right? And then what if it's this other type of colonization of beings? But what if it's just humans who
just humans?
Yeah,
just humans that figured out, they were smart enough, they were lucky enough, whatever, they figured out how to survive these cataclysms. These things that happen.
They say how like nobody's ever been able to dig deeper than, what was it?
8 miles,
is in the Earth.
Yeah, and that's data from, that's 20 years ago type data. And
I just wondered,
in Russia, they drilled 8 miles into the Earth, and that's as far as they could go.
How deep do you think? How deep into the Earth though are these bases? And
I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
This is what I wonder. And then also, are they just kind of saying, "Oh, we can only go so deep," because they don't want anyone ever really trying to like check and do that themselves? Or is there a type of structure set up in the Earth where if you drill in certain places, everything could collapse in on what's been built underground?
I'm sure that's probably part of it. I mean, if you're gonna, let's go with that. Let's go with that hypothetical right now. Let's go with that theory that there's a civilization that's underground. Yeah, if you drill to a certain point, eventually you're gonna hit them, I would think, right? So maybe if we're gonna go with that theory, and there's an advanced civilization, wouldn't you think they'd figure out how to fortify their
True
firmament, I guess, for lack of a better, like maybe they have like their own firmament that they've built in place, and like you hear about Israel has the Iron Dome. Where'd they get that name from? Maybe there is an actual dome of some kind, or whatever it might be, that's keeping this inner Earth, if you will, civilization safe from us people up here drilling into it and collapsing it or whatever. Maybe.
Possibly. I don't know.
And they come up here in their vehicles that can go in the water. You see the videos that they've been putting out lately of, what are they calling them now? UAPs, is that what they're calling them? Yeah, they've changed. They're UFOs, whatever. So is that what it is? Are we seeing just they're coming up? They get, I don't know, supplies. Or they're just coming up to see what the hell are these idiots doing up here now.
And where do they park these UAPs?
I don't think they do. I don't think they have to. They just come up and they check everything out, and then they leave again. They mess with us a little, like, look at
they come morons. Up, yeah, they're still dumbasses. Yeah, okay.
They're still stupid up here. They haven't figured out anything yet. All right, let's go back down, report back to the Grand Poobah or whatever they call there. It's just it. But I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, I wonder if that's what it is. And are we, with like just this crazy weather, we're in something's happening, something's occurring. When's it going to happen? I don't know. going to happen. I mean, I've seen different people that they say like 2030, the Great Reset and all that stuff. Is that why they're calling it that? Because they know something we don't, they being, you know, the shot callers of the world, if you will. I don't know. But it's like, why wouldn't, if you know, if you're, we'll say in the government, if you're in the government and you know something's going to happen, something's coming, why wouldn't you warn people?
Well, because they worry about panic. Because you could say, in 60 years from now, we project a cataclysmic event is going to happen. Now, it's 60 years from now. People are either going to go, it's in 60 years, I won't be alive anymore. Or they could panic and say, I'm going to start looting, start doing things now. And people are going to say, well, if I can build an underground bunker, well, now the town's going to want me to get permits and all this stuff. And people are going to be like, screw that. I think it'll be anarchy, which part of me is like, fine, let there be anarchy. But I think ultimately because of the way people react. And unfortunately, you don't see the majority of people saying, okay, we have 60 years to solve this problem. Let's all work together as a civilization and figure this out. I think people in general are going to say, how can I save myself? How can I save my family?
So if you make it like an every man for himself type of scenario, survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
You think that's what would happen? I agree with you. I think that's most likely the reason why. But it's just, don't you think that if it would be, what's the word I'm looking for? Giving everybody a fighting chance. Don't you think that would be better than just saying, fuck it, let's just.
Well, not just that, but let people come together and decide, like, how can we improve as a civilization to show we're even worthy enough to survive? You know, like, let's work together, put our differences aside. But again, then it makes me think of like Independence Day. They want everyone to come together for a one nation, like a one world government type of thing. And it's like, we don't want that either. No. So it's just figuring out how to work together. Well, if everyone builds underground bunkers, great. But like, we live in the granite state. It's really hard. There's so much granite in the ground. Yeah. We're on a mountain. It's like there's so much granite. And to dig down to make a deep enough bunker, and then you have all the people in apartments. There are all these different factors of how do you accommodate everyone? Because I think the ugly truth is that unless it's on a grand scale where, you know, everybody's involved with these underground cities and it's just every man for himself working together, people will be left out.
Well, you're always going to have people left out, obviously, yeah.
And I'm not saying the people who don't care and want to be left alone. I'm just saying that if everyone's trying to do it DIY, so to speak, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I suppose it would be. It's still kind of crazy to think about, but one of the scientists that I saw who's been doing this for a long time, he puts the acceleration date of everything at 2045, and meaning that's when you're going to see crazy weather, volcanoes everywhere, hurricanes, all that kind of stuff. He puts that date at around 2045, and then 2046 is when basically it's all over. That's what this guy's saying. And I'm just looking at him like, that's interesting. Very interesting. But like what... And we kind of talked about this a little bit too. Like, what could you do? Like, say you're one of the people that survives this crazy flooding.
We started talking about this yesterday. We're like, we need to record.
Well, yeah, So we stopped the conversation because we wanted to have the rest of it here. But essentially, what would you do? Like, okay, you survived. Say you wherever you live, your house is intact, and there's only minor damage from like hurricanes and whatever. How are you going to survive when? Even if you have like a food source, say you have a food source, say you have chickens or you have a cow or a couple of cows or whatever. Okay. How are you going to feed these animals? Typically they forage, right? They go out, they eat grass, whatever, right? Sorry, not forage, graze. Thank you. Yeah. But if you're dealing with multiple volcanoes that have gone off, for example, let's say that happens, that scenario happens. You've got ash covering the sun now. How is the vegetation going to grow to feed your animals, to grow your food. Say you have a greenhouse. That's great. You have a greenhouse. Okay. But are you going to be able to grow enough food? And is it even going to be warm enough? Because if the sun's being blocked out, I don't care if it's the middle of July, it's going to be cold out.
And if there's no sunlight. Now, there are certain, like a lot of root vegetables you can grow in low sunlight.
Okay. But can you survive long-term off of root vegetables only, if that's your only food source? And not to mention, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be cold, right? So it's going to basically, it gets so cold that, say you have a wood stove, okay, you're chopping down trees, you're cutting wood, but with no sunlight, with rain, any rain that comes down is going to be ashy, right? Like whatever that would be, acid rain, however you want to, whatever it's coming down with the ash from volcanoes and stuff. So you're not getting clean water anymore. So even if you have a filtration system in place, something that can, how are you going to power it? Because a lot of people go, oh, you just go off the grid, you get solar power. Well, no, you ain't got solar power if there's no sun, there's no sunlight, if it's dark all the time.
If you get like a type of hydroelectric something working with water, but again, what's the water situation?
Right. Exactly. So how
and
how
then
are you
do you have power? Because they'll say, oh, well, get these UV lamps for like grow lights in greenhouses.
You're not going to, if there's a mass flood,
okay, but here's the thing.
Power ain't going to be a thing.
If it's a cataclysmic event, it depends on what specifically happens, or what if it's everything kind of happens.
It would be probably everything happening at
your
once.
Your livestock, how is your livestock going to stay alive and be fed?
Exactly.
Right? I think you and I, Alex, have talked before about fasting and how some people have fasted only drinking water.
Yes.
For long periods of time.
Sure. I think the one guy that I read went over a year. It was like 363 days.
So if you have a well, if you're fortunate enough to have a well or have enough water stocked to last however long you need, but that's the thing. You need to be able to have water, have clean water.
Yep.
Not even for like washing, just for drinking.
Yep.
And then try to grow food if you can. But let's say you can just live off of water. What else is there? Are there people around you? Are you like in your area the only one because you live up on a mountain somewhere that didn't get affected so much? Like, can you go to the store? Is there power? Is there who knows?
No, there's not going to be any of that. That's what I mean. There won't be any of that.
That's what I'm saying. There are all these factors.
So if you were to survive, that's going to be a hard time.
Yeah.
A hard time, because you figure something like that. I mean, how long does it take before things start to slowly go back to normal? You figure, well, I mean, I don't know, because anything we say is hypothetical, but I would think at least 10, 15, maybe 20, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
It
would take a while.
It'd take decades to go back to
or longer, depending on
normal,
everything
depending
that
on what happened. Yeah. Because you figure what if you look outside right now where we live, trees everywhere. Mm-hmm. What if those trees are all gone?
Yeah. And the oxygen.
And exactly. Like, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard times for people if something like that were to happen on that scale. But hey, we're still here. People have lived. Mm-hmm. People have made it. So somehow, some way.
There's so many movies and TV shows about it, like the will to survive that people have, the things that they'll do. So you're in something like that. And I think it's just all about your mental perspective. Do you want to keep going? Because there are people, people who get stranded somewhere. You start mentally breaking down,
If you allow yourself to, of course.
Like
that can happen with isolation, of course.
And I think that's the thing. If there's so many different factors, it depends on what you have and what you have to work with. Because if you are literally on a small piece of land and you have your house, but you have no way to heat it if it gets cold, you have no food and you're just going to starve to death. Like, can you figure something out? I mean, so I had read that birch, right? The birch tree.
Yeah. You
can, there are mushrooms that grow on the birch tree. And I read that you can eat them and it's not good. They don't taste good, but they recommend trying to cook it over fire for a bit if you can, but you can eat it. So do you have to try to forage to find any little bit of food dig down to try to find water for wells. And I'm talking about if you're in the country, because if you're in the city, I mean, that's just going to be like raiding stores for supplies.
That's going to be
there's
Mad
anything
Max.
Still there, yeah.
That's what that would be. That would be just forget about
Yeah.
it. Every apocalyptic movie you've ever watched, that's what would happen if you're in a city, for sure.
What, everyone wouldn't join together and help each other?
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. That's rich. That's rich. Yeah, but it would be tough. It would be hard. I mean, yeah, it could obviously it's been done because we're still here. People are still here. People survived. If you believe the Noah story, he made a big boat. Is that how you survive something like that? I don't know. I mean, well, there was that movie that we watched that came out, over 15 years ago now, 2012.
Well, okay, when you were talking about like the 2045, I'm like, well, they said that about 2012. And even with the year 2000, with like all the computer stuff, it's like every so many decades or whatever.
Yes, that's predictive programming. That's why I wonder if we had that wave of apocalyptic type movies that were coming out for a while there. And it's like, here we are now, 15, 20 years later. I mean, have we had... Because after that, it started becoming like the virus movies and things. And then we had the pandemic.
It's always something.
It's always so. It's like obviously somebody somewhere knows what's coming, and they just kind of prime you and get you kind of almost ready to accept it and realize that, oh yeah, this is happening now. You know what I mean? Like I feel like were we being primed for something that's coming that they know about, and it's weird because you have like the president. Donald Trump saying for a while there, we're going to take over Canada. We're going to take over Greenland. It's like, why would you want to take over these? Why? Is it because they know of some cataclysm that's coming and they want these mineral and natural resource rich areas because they know something's coming and they want to claim that area, that land, because maybe they know that land will be a safe place to be. Or
well, you and I had discussed too, in addition to these grand cataclysmic events, one is solar radiation that will be so strong, it's essentially going to just scorch parts of the earth.
Yeah, it's going to fry you. Yeah.
In like certain waves of areas, like of the world. Like some places will be fine. And according to some projections, like Greenland is one of the places where it'll be fine.
Yeah. So who knows? Is that... Again, who knows? Because you go, and I think we did an episode with David Weiss about the flat Earth, and we've talked about this in the past. If the Earth is flat, like, and it's not a globe like what we've long come to accept as reality, if that's what it is, then these projections and these things that these scientists come up with, they're wrong. They'd be wrong. These maps they have that they sit and they try to figure out, oh, this area will be fine, but this area won't. It's like, okay, if the Earth is a globe and it's spinning as fast as they say it's spinning, how are you calculating exactly where and when a solar flare or radiation is going to hit a certain area, but this area will be safe, but this area won't be? Like, how do they even calculate that?
So you had sent me a map that somebody had put out, and it was on Twitter. And so I always like to say, okay, well, it's a map of what they're saying, the solar radiation, like the patterns. And if you're in yellow, that means like it's going to be over 200 degrees.
Yeah, you're done.
And
right.
So... Because it's purple, green, yellow, essentially for like the safe and going into unsafe. And so I'm like, all right, let me look at the comments. And somebody's like, this was taken out of context. They cropped the bottom of the chart. And this was something that happened like 41,000 years ago. And so...
And how would anybody know that?
I know.
Like that's the other part of it. 41,000. How do you know that? Come on.
But the point is, anyone can take data and construe it to fit their narrative.
Of course.
And you just don't really know. I mean, gosh, the weather, with all the technology with the weather, I have a weather app, and it will say tomorrow it's going to be sunny and it'll be 64 degrees outside. And then the next thing I know, it's the next day and it's snowing outside and it's like 31 degrees. So I'm like, okay, that was really wrong. And that's a bit hyperbolic, but it it keeps changing. You can't even plan ahead with the weather because it's just, oh, nope, it's changing.
Yeah, it's
So how can you really tell if the sun is going to have such a strong flare where it's going to scorch parts of the earth and where exactly it's going to be?
exactly. Yeah, I mean, how are you gonna know? How would you know? So it's kind of one of those things. Like we've talked with our middle son, especially. He's interested in this kind of stuff, and I always just tell him, it's nothing even worth worrying about.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to. All right, if you look at it from a perspective of a what if, it could be terrifying if you allow yourself to go into that headspace. But it's kind of cool to sit and just think about, okay, what would happen and what would I do? How would I survive? It's cool to think about these hypotheticals, but at the end of the day, worrying about it is going to do no good because if something like that were to happen, well, guess what? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So why even worry about it? Just, here comes a big wave of water. All right. Looks like it's my time to check out. See ya. Hopefully you're with family or loved ones and you can just hold them tight and say, hey, it's been real.
Yeah.
And really, it like all this kind of stuff, what it does, it makes me just think like, okay, what? And I'm sure everybody's gone through this at some point in their lives. You might even be going through it now. What are you here for? What's your purpose? Why are you on this earth? Why are you alive? What are you doing? And I just kind of think it's just to learn.
Yeah, well,
to learn how to be, learn what right from wrong, learn how to be empathetic, learn how to be, just to learn how life is, like how life works, learn how to be good, how to be the best that you can be, because this isn't the end. I think we all universally, people know for the most part, this isn't the end. When you're out of this body, you're going somewhere else. You're going to be something else. You're going to take another form. And you move on. Hopefully, if you've done good here and you've done what you're supposed to do here, you move on to the next stage of enlightenment, evolution, whatever you want to call it.
I think that's general. And I think we do have our own individual purposes.
Sure.
And I will just shameless plug, go to understandingshypnosis.com and schedule a free consult with me. And we can figure out what your purpose is. Get in touch with your soul, with your higher self. Do past life regression.
There you go.
But I mean, I literally have done past life regressions with people and putting the pieces together, figuring out what they're supposed to do in this lifetime. And it's so incredible because, yes, I feel like the consensus with everybody is they come here for a purpose. A lot of it is to learn, to do better, to explore. But then there's like these individual things that they need to work on. And can they do that? And how do they do that? Helps them grow in a sense. And it's really cool. But yeah, so if you want to schedule something with me, I'm happy to help you find it if you are questioning that.
Look at that. Mm-hmm. We'll put links in the show notes for that stuff.
And one of the things that what you were saying made me think about was on the Is AI the Devil episodes with Jen and Jesse. Mm-hmm. One episode they were talking about cryogenically freezing brains.
Oh, jeez.
And so I think of that as it's such a work because these companies are taking so much money to freeze your brain. And then when science has been able to get their shit together and you can be functional again, we'll unfreeze you and then you'll, go in a different body or whatever. And I just think all I can think of is Idiocracy where where they get put in the pods and then they cancel the project and they're just kind of left there. But who's to say, what happens when that company runs out of money? What happens to your brain? Your family paid all this money for nothing. And not just that, but I had to look up, have they unfrozen somebody's brain and done anything with it? They did for mice. And they took tissue samples of the brain that they froze, certain selective tissues, and they cryogenically froze it. And then after 18 months, they thawed it out, however they do it. And it worked. It was there was still electricity in there, electrical impulses and signals. And they said it could hold memories. They have no way of proving it. They're just saying it could. And it's I cannot grasp how that makes sense to anybody as a realistic thing. And please, if you have more information that proves me wrong, please share it because I want to know. But just so they're gonna thaw out your brain like you're taking meat out of a freezer and like thawing it up. Okay, let's thaw you out. We'll stick you in a body or in some kind of like synthetic body. I don't know. Like I don't know what the plan is.
So
but they think it's gonna work and it's gonna be you. Like there's no soul.
Well, I know that a lot of ancient cultures, a lot of the like the pharaohs in Egypt and stuff, a lot of those caskets and the way they mummified the bodies and things, and they would put them in iron caskets because it would really preserve the body, because they believed that at some point, whenever the Messiah or God or whatever it is comes back and passes judgment, it will pass judgment not only on the soul, but on the physical body. So they wanted to preserve their body so that they could, when judgment came, they would be judged, hopefully in a positive way, or so that they could have a positive outcome for themselves, and they could be reborn into their body and then be a god, essentially. Like, I know that that's like an ancient belief. So they believed that, but they also believed that the soul would be put back into the body. With the cryogenic stuff, it's like they don't take that into account. They leave that part out of it. They're just like, oh yeah, they'll keep my brain and I'll have all my memories and it'll be me. No, that's
the thing, because like when I do hypnotherapy, we work with your subconscious. Your subconscious, your consciousness and subconsciousness stores all these memories. It holds on to everything. That isn't necessarily like your brain, like your physical brain. I feel that is part of your soul, and it works with your physical brain to communicate everything through your body. But it's like if you were to remove the soul from the body and you would just have like a body, and you take that brain and there's no soul with it, and you're just like, okay, we have a machine, we can stick it in and it can communicate. Could you get information? I'm sure the brain could work, but it's like it wouldn't be you anymore.
No, I mean, I've experienced it personally when I was knocked out in a wrestling match and I left my body. And you time
traveled.
And I left my body, and you could, I mean,
we did an episode on it, time traveling in the shower.
Yeah, and you could see me on the video. I'm moving. but you can tell I'm not there. Yep. My body's working. It's working.
Yep.
It's doing what it's supposed to do. But you can see I'm not there.
Yeah, lights
are on, but nobody's home. Like, I mean, that's a thing. I think the soul can absolutely leave the body just temporarily and then come back in. I mean, you hear about near-death experiences and things like that. So, could they reanimate a human brain and put it into another body, and you'll have the memories of maybe, but you're not going to be that person. Like, your soul's gone. It's when it leaves, it's gone. It goes to wherever. If you believe in reincarnation and you come back here again because you didn't figure out or learn what you were supposed to learn,
or you just
the
want to
last
come back
go around, or you just want to come back for whatever reason, your soul's not in. It's not going to go to that brain and that body. It's going to go to wherever it went to. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's. Yeah, well, like what you said, it's a work. The cryogenic thing, like, come on, that'll never work.
It's so carny.
It's so
brilliant.
It really is. It really is, and there's people getting rich off it, and ironically enough, it's rich people that fall for it because you got to be really wealthy to do it. So, I mean, I don't see how that would ever work. It wouldn't, because they don't factor in the soul.
I'm looking up how much to cryogenically freeze a brain.
I'm looking at you like I paused. I'm looking at you like you're gonna say something, but you're okay. Yeah, how much would that cost? I mean, what was it? Was it Ted Williams, the baseball player, that did it? And isn't Walt Disney supposedly his brain is on ice too? He's been cryogenically frozen.
So to cryogenically freeze your brain, it typically ranges $75,000 to $90,000.
So it's not cheap. It's not inexpensive.
And there's also other services.
Oh my.
That can affect the total price.
Enlighten me on these add-ons.
I'm looking up different things. So
what a business model.
The initial processing, low end in general, low end $25,000, average $60,000, high $120,000. Then there's the storage.
What?
That's the processing. Then there is the storage vessel and facility. So the
does it give you details on what processing is? Like, what does that mean?
Includes stabilization, cooling, and vitrification.
So it can range from 25,000 to what? 60,000? Is that what you said?
25,000 to 120,000, with
So,
60 being the average.
So what is the difference? What are you in, like a
Frigidaire,
a Frigidaire or a Samsung freezer? Like what's the difference?
Well, it's cryogenics. Maybe it depends on where you live.
Okay.
There's the storage vessel and facility setup, which is 40,000 to 250,000, with 140,000 being in the middle. That's the crystallization container, tanks, and backup power. Then there's annual maintenance and monitoring, and that's $5,000 to on the low end to $40,000 on the high end, and the average is $15,000, and that's for staffing, remote monitoring, and risk mitigation. Transportation and logistics ranging from $2,000 to $25,000. That's interfacility transfer or international shipping.
Okay.
Insurance and legal fees ranging from $3,000 on the low end to $25,000 on the high end. That's policy premiums and compliance costs, because you have to pay for insurance for everything.
Jeez.
So all in one total. So it's one time plus the first year. Low is $75,000. Average is $237,000, and high is $520,000.
This is a per year cost?
That assumes standard package with regional support. So that is the all-in total plus one. So it's plus the first year.
So how?
So you pay annually, apparently.
So basically, you have to be super wealthy, so that when you're gone, you're still able to somehow have finances set up that are going to continue preserving you.
You need like an estate, like that's just constantly bringing in money.
Yeah, yeah. So again, who could afford this? And if you could, how are you so dumb that you would do this? Like I've heard
people have like the I want to live forever, like the God complex, maybe.
I guess, but I mean, like I hear stories about, like, you know how Wi-Fi on planes, right? Mm-hmm. And billionaires that have the funds won't put Wi-Fi on their planes because it's such a work. Like Wi-Fi on a plane, they won't put Wi-Fi on their plane because it's hundreds of thousands to install it, and then I forget what the number was, but it's something like $100,000 per flight and they won't even bother. Like, these are billionaires that have private planes and have the means, but they won't even do that because they're like, it's a work. I'm not doing that. But they're going to get suckered into doing cryogenically freezing their brains.
I think it's the ego.
I think it's
ego driven.
Amazing to me that there can be such. It's just amazing. What a fascinating thing to talk about and to think about, because like what? Anyway, well, you know what? I think that's a good place to stop for today, because I'm my brain's going in a million different directions, but anyway. Well, I guess it's good to be back. Good to start talking again on the microphone with my beautiful lady. So until next time, I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion. I've been joined by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous wife, Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
We love hearing from and interacting with our hearers and watchers. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter
at HomewreckerPod.
You can also visit our website,
homewreckerpodcast.com,
where you can check out past episodes and pick up some Homewrecker Podcast gear from our online store.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're hearing or watching our show. That way you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can check out the video versions of our show at YouTube and Brighteon.
You can also find Monique in a few places online as well.
I'm on Twitter @_Monique Giselle_. If you're interested in a tarot reading, organite, incense, candles, and other cool things, you can go to my website, tarotbymonique.com. Or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, you can go to innerstandingshypnosis.com to schedule a free 20-minute consult. And follow me on Twitter at MoniquePCHT. And Alex, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @TheAlexArion, and you can check out my website, alexarionfitness.com.
And if that's too much to remember, we get it. That's why we put it all in our show notes.
Thanks for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of your support.
We do. Thank you. We love you. Many people are unaware just how much hypnotherapy can help them, or think it's only to help lose weight or quit smoking. But there is so much more hypnotherapy can do. It can help with stress, anxiety, insomnia, phobias, performance enhancement, connecting with your spirit guides and higher self. You can even discover past lives and your life between lives. Heal traumas, break habits, find your deepest truth, or just have fun discovering who you really are, all from the comfort of your home. I'm Monique Pliakis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I want to help you. Schedule a free consult by going to www.innerstandingshypnosis.com. That's INNERSTANDINGSHYPNOSIS.com. Inner Standings Hypnosis. Find your power and ignite your inner light.